It's time to get back to Elon Musk's biography, and the biography is by Walter Isaacson. And we did previously chapter 1 to 4, and now it's going to be chapter 5 and 6. And I just want to remind you what did we do, what did I say in chapters and previous chapters. So in chapters 1, adventures, we learned that the adventure in Elon Musk's life comes from his family, from his mother's side, because they were more challenging. They would buy his grandfather bought an airplane, flew with them over the continent, and did all of these things, and he died doing one of his adventures. And also his mom said that you can take an adventure as long as you know it's safe. So we can see that his maternal part was an involvement in what he's actually doing, part of who Elon Musk is being. But also his dad, he was always looking for an opportunity. He was an engineer, probably he is right now too, and he was always looking for something new to do. Like he liked to restore cars and planes on the side. So we can see that kind of his family was more into something like flying more. And his marriage was dramatic. His parents' marriage was dramatic, obviously, and they were in and out and all that. And chapter 2, a mind of his own, and this tells us that Elon Musk's parents allowed the kids to do whatever they wanted as long as they were safe. And when he was 3, his mom thought he is a genius. She took him to school, and kids were older, and the principal said that Elon Musk is probably retarded because he didn't really pay attention in class. And what Elon Musk says that when he would get an idea, he's just stuck on the idea and he doesn't pay attention to what's happening around. That's very true. That's something that happens to me, that happens to other people who have Asperger's. So in this chapter, we see that he says that he has Asperger's, but never tested literally. But as he explains how his life is, I can see many things that happen in my life. And as I did research on this subject, I could see that there are many things that actually relate. And even if you're not like truly tested, it doesn't mean you don't have it. For me personally, I don't want to have it to be tested. It's not what I know. And I find that all the videos on this syndrome goes like somewhat very sad. Like people are like, oh my God, I have Asperger's, which maybe depends on how much of it you have, or maybe in combination of what other things you have. But for me, it's like actually a blessing. I really enjoy how I am. I don't know if others enjoy it, but I definitely enjoy how I am, and I enjoy the part where you can actually grab a lot of information because you're like passionate about it. So that's one thing. One thing of that is that if I don't like something, you won't make me do it. I just cannot make myself do. Anyways, let's go back to chapter 3. In chapter 3, we found out that when he was 10, he moved with his father because his grandmother on that side made him feel like it's not fair that the mom has the kids and Elon Musk's dad doesn't, and it's alone. And the second reason was that his dad has 2 sets of encyclopedias and lots of books and a lot of engineering tools. So we see that the passion to try to do stuff, it's more revealing with his dad than his mom. And that's quite normal because rarely women actually have all the tools they need or anything. And sometimes a mom can have so much to do for her kids that doesn't have time to actually have books or read books. I know on myself, when my kids were younger, I didn't have the time to read the books no matter how much I wanted. I did try. I went through with some, but most of the times I was so tired that books were like kind of on the as soon as I'm done with this, I'll get there, but I was never done with everything else. And he was very stubborn. He wanted to go to a computer class, and he did that. And I think that's chapter 4, though. That's chapter 4. So let's go back to chapter 3. he built with his dad and his brother a place for tourists, and always like his dad, I think, implemented in him this novelty or do something from your situation in order to benefit you or make money. In chapter 4, we find out that he wanted to have a computer. He saw the first time a computer and wanted to take a seminar that was for $100. His dad didn't want to let him, but Elon was stubborn and persistent, and he actually achieved that. And his dad made a deal with the professors who were doing this, because he said it's a kid, can he stay in the back? So he paid less money. But when he came to pick him up, he found out that he was actually talking to the professors, and one of them said that this kid needs to have a computer, because he obviously was interested in this and probably had questions or even ideas that a grown-up would consider them pretty advanced compared to the other people he's talking to, and here's a kid. And he also wanted a motorcycle, and he got that. He also invented the Blastar game at 13, and he got $500 for this. So we see that he was trying to do a lot of things. Well, now let's go to chapter 5 and chapter 6, and we have here Elon Musk and whatever notes I took. Let's see what I can say today. So chapter 5 is escape velocity, and his cousin says in this chapter that when Elon Musk gets dark and moody, you cannot be around him. You're walking on eggshell shells. Like, when he's in good mood, he's fine and it's fun, but when he's upset, he isn't. So this probably is something from his dad, and I can see that his dad probably sees and saw in Ellen that he was like that, and sees in Ellen that he is like that, and probably brings conflict because it reminds of his own upbringing, and maybe he wasn't as stubborn as Elon Musk, and maybe he didn't always achieve what he wanted doing by the way he acted, and maybe Elon Musk does achieve more. And that's kind of, sometimes we have a trait and we want to inhibit that in ourselves, and we try to stop our kids to act like that, and it brings frustration. We also see that his stubbornness comes from his dad. His dad lately in life started to think that there is no chance, there's Fibonacci sequence, so he kind of relates everything to that, and he's very stubborn in that opinion. He thinks that he could write a book about it. And Elon Musk says that his dad was a brilliant engineer, and then he became a witchcraft. So we can see conflict there. We can see that they both admire each other, but also are ready to tear each other apart. One thing I would say is that reading this about his dad actually gives me an opinion that Elon Musk does whatever he does, or like, for example, his electric cars or his wish to go to Mars. It's something that people don't accept. People think that it's out of this world, but he's stubborn and he wants to prove that it's possible. So we see it's kind of similar to what his dad does with Fibonacci sequence. So we can see that how they two relate in this part. Also in this chapter, his dad, Elon Musk's dad, says that he had got the wrong ideas about him and the wrong memories, and but he doesn't want to concentrate on that or blame them for that. He just wants them to be happy. Later on, Justin, Elon Musk's first wife, said that no matter what's happening, Elon Musk tries to really be involved with their kids. And when he would get like upset or would remind her of his dad, she would say that to him, and that kind of would bring him back because he doesn't want to be like his dad. But one thing interesting, she says that no matter what, if there's a situation where she needs to be protected and her kids need to be protected, she would like to be on Elon Musk team, because he would find a way to fix it. And she says that if zombies would invade the world, you want to be with Elon Musk, because he would find a way to put those to get those zombies in a line. This reminded me of my husband. It's really true. No matter what happens, he always finds a way out of every situation. So yeah, we see that it's probably because people like Elon Musk don't feel like they can be intimidated. They might be a little bit confused at first, but when they get the grip of it, they know how to fix it. They look for a solution and they find that. They don't let their panicking or their emotions stay in the way. So when Musk wanted to move to America, I really like this part. When Musk wanted to move to America, he couldn't because his mom was from Canada, and what he could do was to move to Canada. And this really, I made a mark here that sometimes we want to achieve a goal, and the goal is achievable, except that we can really um, be stumbled because we cannot do it right now. So sometimes we need to take steps instead of being discouraged. We need to actually take steps, because as we see later, he actually gets to America and he is in America. And Elon Musk says that his father was against him coming to America, while his dad says he was for it and he encouraged it. And when we read the book, Walter Isaacson says that when he compared the dates and facts that Elon's dad gave it to him, it actually proves that it was after Elon Musk bought his airplane ticket and did his passport. So this was chapter 5. Now it's chapter 6 turn, and I wanted to tell you that you guys, the book has a lot more details and it's interesting to read. I'm just summarizing it. I look for what's the best in my opinion. It's just that I don't want to keep you here all day telling you every single thing that is in the book. So the book is not a bad read. It's a really good read. I actually enjoy it very much. I haven't read it in a while because I tend to find other books and I'm guilty of reading a lot of books at the same time. So whenever I get to it, I just read it. So chapter 6 is Canada. So in this chapter, I really didn't find too much what to talk about. It's just that says that both parents gave him $2,000 and he lost the money because the bus left with his luggage, and all he had left was just the books because he was carrying his books everywhere. So that's not surprising, and probably if it was me who was lost, I'd be found with my books as well. Because that's something, when a person likes to read, they take their books with them. And I noticed that in me and my middle daughter, everywhere we go, and we get books with us. And sometimes we go to a family trip and we literally don't have time to read books, but still we have like a couple of books with us, like 3-4 of them, and all the necessities for that. So I do see how he did have his books on the money. And then it says that all the jobs at that time were paying $5, but he chose a more harder job, a more riskier job, because it was paying $18. And then his mom and sister moved to Toronto, and Elon Musk moved with them. And his younger brother stayed in Africa because he had to finish his high school. And they lived together in a small apartment. Money was very tight, and his mom had to take several jobs, and she would work also at nights, 4 nights a week, and will take days off only when she needed to clean the house, and go grocery shopping. So that's very hard for a mom with a couple of kids that live in another country and moved and left everything behind. This is a great example, actually, where it explains why Elon Musk can push so hard over different type of struggles, because he struggled and he could do it. Elon Musk had no friends. He usually spent time reading. He usually spent time doing something on his computer. But he never wanted to be lonely. So he would ask his sister to go out with her, and she would say, "You stay 10 feet away from me because I don't want you to embarrass me," or something like that. And he would have his books and just read the book whenever they stopped somewhere. And usually people would party in clubs, but he would read the book. So this was all, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you, if you bought the book, maybe you can let me know what you think about it. For right now, this is all I've read during this time. And I don't know if I showed you guys, but this is where I keep the other chapters I didn't write in the notebook, and it says him, dream big. So go ahead and dream big. Maybe you're the next one who is going to do something amazing for us.